things there. Welcome back to Starting to Play Football with myself, Theo. And Kojo has actually shown up, man. You know what? No, do you know what? Because there's a lot of United fans now that we have to go and get the sat navs and try and find them. You're here. You're active, man. What are you saying?
Yeah, I'm cool, man. I'm cool, man. I said I'm not talking in chats because I know it's either going to be ridiculous banter or stupid United fans just talking a whole lot of crap. And then I made the idiot choice of opening up X or Twitter or whatever they call it this morning, and I already got into two arguments. So yeah, man, it's been a lovely morning, but yeah, I'm here, man. I'm here, man. What are you saying?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm good. I can't complain. If I'm honest, I can't complain. You know, like we've got our final next week. Anything can happen, so I'm not going to speak on things too much. I ran my banter last night. You probably haven't seen it, but no. Well, you know what? It was one of them games that I think I said before. Maybe I didn't say it in a group or whatever, but it was one of those games where it was make or break for either side. Do you know what I mean? If United were on the winning side and Spurs were on the other side, I'm sure the same impacts of the game, outputs of the game, the fans would be the same, or sort of neutral fans of other teams would have been the same. But I don't even know where to start with this one, man. This is crazy. Let me say this before we do anything. If you're here, subscribe to the channel because we're on 77 subscribers. By the end of this season, so I'm talking by Sunday, I want at least 80, maybe even 100. Let me push to 100 subscribers, man.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? Let's try and dissect this because I feel like this was Manchester United's moment to salvage something of this season that has been really poor for United. And I think going into the game, and I don't know, man. I just did not see. I'll be honest. I did not see Spurs doing what they did last night. Like, let's try and break it down. But just can you believe how it's unfolded? If that makes sense. Do you think this is actually the right outcome? This is where we are as a club, as Manchester United.
Yeah, yeah. I had a dispute with Kel this morning because I was trying to. When I talk about Man United, I think people feel like I'm trying to find reasons and excuses, and it's not an excuse. It's factual. It's what you see. I'm telling you what you're seeing. Before the game, I didn't, and he asked. So he asked me the question of, so what? Before the game, was the game done before the game started? I said, no, of course not. I didn't go. If that was the case, I wouldn't have sat down and watched the game. I want the team to win. I believe the team should have won the game. They could have won the game. Rather, not should have. They could have won the game. But it's something that I keep pointing out, and I said it on the recording I did, obviously with Callum, and I said,
Yeah.
if you are playing Spurs and Spurs turn it into a Premier League game, it's done. It's that simple, and they turn it into a Premier League game immediately. Go and watch the tapes of United versus Spurs this season. Spurs
Yeah.
do not
Same.
play. Same thing. The Spurs do not play their high line against United because they know they need to let United keep the ball, make some Bruno's in deeper areas because people like Garnacho, Hoyland, Xerxes, Mount, even though he wasn't there at the time for the first three games, but Mount, Ahmad's the only one that does something in terms of that front, that if he's part of the front three, that's trying to do something. And you could see their game plan. As soon as he got the ball, there were 4 bodies around him. So they restricted him far out on the right and limited anything else. If you get Bruno deeper, then you're looking for the others to try and make some sort of impact, and they weren't doing it. So they turned it into a Premier League game very quickly, and then they got their goal and they sharp shot. They made defensive changes from the midfield. The only like for like change was Udogi for Spence because Udogi had an injury. If not, it was midfielder for Archie Gray. Archie Gray's a defensive minded midfielder. If it was Brennan Johnson, it was a defender that was coming on. They didn't need to attack. You're chasing the game. You want to dominate possession from kickoff. You want to trying to break us down with your very sort of slow build up to attacks. So if you're going to do that, you're going to have to find a way. And they limited our chances. And funny enough, when we had chances, I think Hoyland did all he could with that header. I think someone like Maguire with a bit more.
I don't know.
No. In the sense of because when he's jumped, he's almost leaning back to try and get his head forward. So obviously, ideally, you've that kind of moving your head towards the ball, you can put as much power as possible. but he's also leaping back. Whereas someone like Maguire, I think, would just forcefully hit that ball forward. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm trying to avoid any Højlund criticism. I'm saying I think that's the best he could have done. To be quite frank, it was an amazing clearance by Van der Ven. Bruno
Yeah, it
Fernandes is
was.
down.
It was.
Sorry.
So what was he saying?
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes' diving header. When he, I think he should have let the ball come to his leg and taken the touch rather than diving for the ball because he has so much space. I also had a bit of annoyance with the fact that the cross was directed towards him and not the 2-3 bodies behind him in, I think it was Dogu and Garnacho at the back of that time. So, decision making. But this has been a formula throughout the whole season. I don't know why anyone's surprised. And when I say these things, again, that's not me saying so when you enter the game, you're going to lose. No, it means when the whistle's been blown, you can see why Man United have lost again and again and again. Second thing, talking about, manager this and manager that. Last season, we lost 14 league games. So we only lost four more this year. That's poor. That's poor. So this has been coming. Now, I will praise Spurs because they deserve to win the game. People talking about the lack of attempted passes or completed passes, whichever one it was. Who cares? What was the end result? What were they doing? They were showing armpits. They were lifting the trophy. Who cares? They don't care. They don't care. Every team always talks about I want an attractive brand of football, and if my team wins a trophy without an attractive brand of football, it's going to feel like it's not, nice and all that stuff. My friend, when your team is lifting the trophy, you don't care about how it's won. You just care that it's
man. I said that last night.
Simple as that.
I said that last night.
So exactly. So people trying to find reasons to I don't know, find another reason why they think Spurs didn't deserve it or what.
No, Spurs deserve that. We have to credit them because I feel this was the game. I'll be honest. I went into this match thinking Spurs were a slight underdogs, and I say that because they haven't been on this platform in terms of a final in Europe for many years. I think it's 17 years since their first trophy, since their last trophy domestically, and I think it's like 54 years probably even or something like that in terms of a European success for them. So I felt they come into it with not the lack of experience, because obviously some of their players have played in big stages for their countries or from other clubs that they've come from. But I just felt with United, something had to click in that game and nothing clicked.
But what I was, and again, this is not an excuse because you're right, Spurs, in fact, that squad doesn't have, to my recollection, a player that's been in a European final before, right? I think I'm right in saying that. All their key players, I don't think they had, and they were missing their main
Kulusevski as well.
Their creative outlets. They were missing these guys, right?
Yeah.
But this is what I'm talking about. They found another way to win. So this is where I can talk about Amorim now, because I think a lot of the talk, and I said it as always, I feel like the club is going to lean heavily on Bruno because he's our most creative player, most dangerous player. They're going to lean heavily on Casemiro because Casemiro is the experienced winner. Real Madrid, the accolades to speak for themselves, right? But what Spurs did well was they just didn't allow Casemiro that space to go forward, so he stayed as deep as possible because he couldn't go forward. So they were tactically a lot more aware. So this is where I can go on Amorim and say I think tactically he was outdone. I can say his substitutions were very late. I don't know why they were so laboured.
I never got that though, because I think just looking at the subs now, Orlando Garnacho comes on, Xerxes comes on 70th minute, there's only 20 minutes left in the game.
Yeah.
Diego Dallo 85 minutes, Kobe Mainu 90 minutes in.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think that Mason Mount sub could have happened a lot earlier. I think you're talking maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes after half time. You see that, or even half time. Half time. You see something isn't changing, really ineffective, difficult game for him to come into. Change it, because when Garnacho comes on, I'm not saying he changed the game completely, but he was a bit more effective going forward in terms of creating something, making Vicario think about something in that goal. And Mason Mount never done that. I look at maybe Højlund again. I know we had that chance and it was after the line by Van der Ven, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I really went into that game. And like you said, credit to Spurs, because
They deserve it, yeah.
they executed something that necessarily, like you said, they knew they could turn it into like a Premier League match, and it was set up for them to do that. I thought their midfield was very well organized in terms of Bentancur, Basuma. Then you had Sar sort of playing higher up, and it worked for them. They didn't have to, like you said, didn't have to chase the game. They got their goal. They allowed United, even when they were under attack. I thought they're under attack here, Spurs. I think it was like 15 minutes left in the game. Harry Maguire was pushing up. Dorgu was a little bit more central.
Yep.
And it didn't really change anything for them. They were just, there was no real threat. There was moments in the game where Xerxes was the only player until when he came on for Højlund. He was the only player in the box. Yeah, so you can't cross the ball into him. Who are you going to cross the ball into? Just Xerxes.
So this is why this is people think I always make this excuse. Look, bro, this is what I'm saying. Look at how the squad is, right? And look at how the squad has been assembled. I'm not trying to go for a rant of, oh, this happened last summer, so this is your result. No. What I'm saying is, when you look at how the squad has been assembled over time, you can see where the faults are, where the errors are. You've just pointed out something that's so key there. So I keep saying to people that ever since Amorim came in, Man United have the stats for the most, or I think the top three anyway, biggest chances created, big chances created, and then also big chances missed. So he's putting into areas where you should be scoring, or at least working the goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
And those happen in games, so our XG goes up for people that care about XG. I don't really give a shit about that. And then you have a lot more moments where you're trying to build an attack and there are no bodies apart from one in the box. So it's so easy to defend against. Because you as a forward, as a winger or whoever player you are, you have to find that job of making a pass that's so good that the defender just can't defend against that ball. But more times, if one defender can't defend against it, the other one's going to come and try and cover that. And that's what they were doing. That's what we were doing originally, where we were locking down Solanke. So people like Sarr had to make late runs, and then Shaw was following him.
Yep.
And then stopping him and making a good tackle. As one example. So it was that kind of game, and that's why I said I'm giving credit to Spurs, because whilst they were having that difficulty, they were just finding other ways to try and get into the box to try and score. And this is what I was telling Callum, what you mentioned about that midfield three. I know Spurs have had a bad season, and I know those three in their time as Spurs haven't been overly convincing. But Bentancur, a very good Bentancur is a very good player. A very good Basuma is the reason why he signed him from Brighton. In fact, not even just signed him, he was wanted heavily by many clubs from Brighton because there's quality there.
Yeah.
And Star is a very good young midfielder, very good. And they've got players like Bilbao. So once they build upon that, they can build a very good young team and, push forward. This is the point I was trying to make. So when I was making these points, that's why I was saying I was a bit nervous about the game, because I can see where they can hurt United. And I've seen it over the 3 games. And in those 3 games, sometimes Maddison wasn't available. Sometimes Bergvall wasn't available. Sometimes Kulusevski wasn't available.
I forgot about Bergvall as well.
Exactly. So those 3 players not being there didn't give me the confidence to say we should win this game, because I know this team. People think it's always an excuse. It's not an excuse when it's factual. The evidence is there. They've beaten you 3 times in a row this year.
4.
And you can see. Oh, 4 now. And you can see why. Why. So, put the pieces together. Now, let me tell you why I'm angry rather than... Yeah, let me tell you why I'm angry. And I was very pissed off about the result, right? Because whether it was Spurs, whether it was Villarreal 5 or 6 years ago when we lost to penalties on penalties to them, right? I was frustrated about the result, absolutely. And we're going to go down in history as the team that stopped Spurs 17-year run. Fantastic, right? But what has angered me is how stupidly and reactive the Man United fans are. And when I say stupidly reactive, I understand how devastating this loss is. You can see how pissed off I am. But talk with fucking sense. Talk with... The first thing I saw when I went on social media was you guys said this is my manager because he got rid of an academy graduate, being Rashford, and this is the result. Well, maybe it wasn't you as an individual, but Rashford has been hounded out by the fans for the last 2 years. Granted, his performances have been fantastic. Granted. But you've been screaming for this guy to leave the club, and suddenly it's, we could have done with him today. So maybe not that individual, but many other individuals. You blame Ten Hag, and then you also know that the squad is poorly assembled. and you know that in a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 or whatever, it doesn't work. So the formation's not the problem. It's always the players, and we need the whole overhaul. And the manager that told you I want to come in the summer because this team is not ready for me to work with them tells you that the club puts them in a position where it's now or never. And for anyone that knows football, if it's Man United, Liverpool, Real Madrid, I add Barcelona to that, because of history and heritage, if those clubs come calling and they say it's now or never, for people outside of England, they're going to say, well, I'm coming.
Let me ask you this though: Do you reckon if he said no, I want to come in the summer? Because don't forget,
they would have said no.
But then who did they go and get then? Because I think they would have had no choice but to say and back down. I think he had a lot more power than he realized when he was at Sporting.
I don't think so. I genuinely don't think so.
Who else would you have got in terms of Amorim though?
That's the thing. I'll have to think back to that time period to who we were linked with.
Because
in the summer,
with Southgate. Remember, it was Southgate. It was Amorim,
De Zerbi,
Thomas Frank.
Thomas Frank. All these guys were named in there. Hansi Flick was named in there before he went to Barcelona. But that time period, I don't remember many names being, because I remember it was Ten Hag sacked, Main got for Amorim. I remember it was like that. So I don't think there was anyone else they went for. But and he was very vocal about it in his because he's always been like that in Sporting Lisbon as well. So Sporting Club. I should call him Sporting Lisbon. Sporting Club. They when he was doing his press conferences, and that guy, that Wellard from Sky Sports, came and asked him stupid questions. But in that press conference, he said, "This club came to me and said now or never." And for people like us that have grown up in the game and lots in the English Premier League and idolize these certain clubs, when they come calling and they give you an ultimatum, it's hard for you to say no.
I get it. So, but who, like, I think he had do you know what I would have said to them? Actually, either go and get an interim, because this season was not his season. So I think he could have bargained a little bit more, haggle's probably the wrong word, but at least reasoned with them and said, actually, look, I really want this job, but you have to give me the opportunity to come in fresh. I want a clean slate. I want a nice clean white wall that I can decorate and make my own. I don't want to come in and someone's half done it, one part of the wallpaper's this side and the other paint here, there. It's all a mess. I don't want that. I want a fresh, clean canvas to work with. And
so I think he's getting that now. And the reason why I say that is because if you look at how, especially Jim Ratcliffe anyway, has spoken about Amorim and spoken about the club actually and the players, because when Ten Hag was here during the summer, I think it was Silverstone for F1. He was asked about the takeover, and there was no question about the squad, but he alluded to the squad being bad.
Yeah, he's come out and said that before.
Yeah, so
many times
when Amorim's come in, I think Amorim, he's especially in the interview with Gary Neville, he said, "I believe in the manager. I know that we need to change a lot of things squad-wise as well, personnel-wise." So I think he's been told now, okay, this has been a bad end to the season. You finished 17th, and you've been here a while now. We're not going to say he's been here a short time. It's November, so you have time to try and figure things out. You've been here a while now. It's obviously clear that we want to restart things. You say you want it to come in the summer. Well, we're here now. This is what the situation is. Drop a list of the players that you want out. Drop a list of the players that you want in. We'll work with Vivel and what's his name, Barada, and whoever else is going to be in that. And we're going to try and get you players. So I think Konya is a first idea of that signing.
Let me ask you this though: does not getting into the Champions League change potential transfer targets for United?
Oh, of course it does. This was so. For example, I don't think we're ever going to get Gyökeres anyway. But if we had ever had a chance, you have to get in the Champions League. But if Champions League Arsenal want him, he's not picking Man United or Arsenal. He's going to Arsenal all day. So that's going to impact it hugely. But you still have to find targets. There are still players that are going to want to come, because Konya has already agreed to join you before the final. So whether you win it or not has not.
See, that's dangerous, man. That's dangerous.
It's dangerous, but it also
coming up around the corner. No, of course, 100%. But I think that's why I think Liam Delap's been kind of smart about it. He's going to listen to the intentions, the vision, the project that United have, but he hasn't come out fully and committed and said, I want to sign. So I think he's done it in the right way.
There's two sides to that though, because if he, so obviously United and Chelsea are the two teams that want Liam Delap, right? So if he goes to Chelsea instead, if you guys make Champions League this Sunday, and
Big
he goes
ask.
to Chelsea,
I doubt it, but go on.
I know you do that. Don't worry. You probably you might make it. Who knows? Who
No, no,
knows?
no, no.
But if you guys were to make it, right, and he signed for you, he still has to have a good enough season to be selected by Thomas Tuchel.
Oh
So
yeah, you
if he
can't
goes
just come and think he's going to walk into the squad, the England squad.
there you go. So if he goes to United, and obviously with Chelsea, if they're in the Champions League or even the Europa League, regardless, you go to Europe, right? Whichever competition that you're in, as long as you, from a player standpoint, prove that you can perform on a certain stage, I think, or you just have a good season overall, you'll be considered for a selection, no problem, right? And if he goes to United and he has no European football, so he's playing mostly once a week, with the exception of a Carabao Cup week here and there. If you're playing once a week, they're going to look to you and say you need to have a better season, and you're being assigned to be the main guy at this club because obviously they don't have confidence in Højlund and Xerxes to lead the line. So you're going to be that guy. But Cunha is going to go to the number 10 position, one of them anyway, because that's what they want. They want someone that is a bit more creative, someone that's a bit more direct, that can score from outside and inside the box, makes runs, links up. That's what Cunha brings you, right? So Cunha himself has to have a good season as well, because the Brazil team right now is a shambles. The way they're performing, the whole nation hates them. So you got an opening there, right? So I understand why you or anyone else would think along that path of, yes, maybe breathe a little bit, let things happen. Similar to what Hazard did after you guys won Champions League and said, I'm going to Champions League winners. I want to go there, right? But there's also a side where it goes, well, you could go there and it might not work. It could come to United, it might not work. One way or another, he has to go out there and perform. So that doesn't bother me. I'm just looking at the angle of, okay, they're obviously backing the manager because they've made signings way before the final had even happened. They've really got to make that here we go situation. So all Wolves are waiting for is that fee to go through the window door to say, here we go. You trigger the release clause and it's done, right?
Yeah.
So that's where I am with it, and that's why I'm saying he was my guy. I said I want Amorim, so obviously it's not looking great on me right now. You finished 17th, you lost in the cup final, you have nothing to show for, you're out of Europe.
It's been one of the worst though. It's been one of the worst seasons under United,
Ever.
and I
It's
don't
not
think
one off. It's not one off, bro. It's the worst. It's not one off.
I don't think he can take full blame for that. And this is where
No,
I'm kind of.
you can't.
I don't think.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say I don't think the buck stops with him. I think there's so many issues happening at the club that I don't think you could take him out of the club tomorrow or today, and I still think you could bring in, I don't know, Zinedine Zidane, who's not even a good manager for United, I don't think it, but someone who's won something somewhere. Do you know what I mean? Bring him into tomorrow. He's the same issues are here. The same Harry Maguire, the same Luke Shaw, Onana's still there, Rasmus Højlund's still there. You got Sancho on your book still, though he looks like he's going Chelsea. Manchester United's got Rashford on their book still. There's so many issues. The owners are a big problem. I say the owners. Ratcliffe is a problem. The Glazers are still a problem at that club. There's so many factors that Amorim for me is always going to be fighting a losing battle, because he could get backed in the summer window to an extent. Cunha comes in, you maybe get Liam Delap, or you get another striker that comes in. You get rid of some of. You're not going to get rid of all of You're not going to get rid of all the players that you need to get rid of in one window. Mason Mount for me just hasn't done it. He's been injury prone. He hasn't done it. Casemiro, his legs are gone. You could see that yesterday.
Yep.
I don't think Fernandes is good enough. Yes, he turns up in certain moments, but does he do it week in, week out? Is he the one that you can rely on week in, week out? No. Luke Shaw, Harry Maguire, I like Yoro. I think he's good. Mazraoui, not sure. Dorgu, again, then you look at the bench. Lindelof's still there. Christian Eriksen. Ugarte even got minutes yesterday. Collier, Amas, Heaven. The squad's bad, bad.
Okay. So this is what it's funny that you can analyze that properly, but they can't. As United fans, can't do that. They always talk about it, but they can't sit down and think, "Oh shit, he's right." Or it's rather, the manager's right, not me. The manager's right. There needs to be a change here. Things need to happen. We need to get rid of this guy, that guy, that guy. You talk about it, and then someone else talks about it, and they're unhappy about it. You've listed off names there, and 90% of them you don't want. You got time for the young guys. Euro's got a future. Mainu's got a future. Ahmad's got a future. Heaven probably has a future. Kojo has a future.
Thing is, though, they need experience around them. They need quality experience, not just experience.
Yeah.
They need
No, yeah, exactly.
quality
And
and experience together.
I think that's where he's trying to start. Look, again, I need people to understand how Amorim works. Now, it's again, I said it. I don't know if I said it here to you, but I'm going to repeat it for myself now anyway, because people need to understand what kind of work he's trying to do here. When he went to Sporting Lisbon, and I keep saying Sporting Lisbon, went to Sporting, and to be fair, they were in. I argued at the time a worse situation because they were actually having players saying, "I'm not playing for the club." They just
Down
and
tools.
they deserving down tools. They didn't turn up,
Yeah,
so there
yeah.
were no tools down. They were just sorry, not playing. Release me. Fans rioting, players saying, "Give me astronomical wages. I'm effing off." So he came into a mess and got rid of 25 players that summer. I'm saying this because I know it's not going to happen at United. You're not going to get rid of 25 players, but there's a point to be made here. He wants to see an overhaul when he knows things are bad, and when I'm talking about bad, really bad. So he has confidence in his ability to go and do it. Now, things have come out recently where they're saying in January he was considering leaving, but his boys talked to him and said, "No, let's see it through." He said yesterday that if the club does not believe in me, they'll
I want
get
to
rid
get
of me.
onto that. I want to get
Which is,
onto that. What do you think about that, though? The fact that
well, he's just
he's
stating facts, isn't it? He's just stating facts. If the club says to you, "I don't believe in you," what are you here for?
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I
No,
feel
no.
like I feel like he knows that he's got the reassurances from the ownership to say you're not going anywhere. For him
I
to
f-
come out and say like that, I think he
yeah,
knows that he's got another 6 months easily to resolve things at the club. So he's got the whole
I
summer,
agree.
plus he's got
I
up
agree.
until I'd say December, maybe November, to resolve things at the club and get things working and get your players in, get them playing the way. Because he's clearly saying all the time, my tactics are my tactics. This is how I want to play my football. My style of play. This is what it is. But I need the players to fit into that. And currently, we don't have the players that can play the system that I want to play. So if he gets
Yeah,
those players in, and I don't know, there's no excuses now. There's no European football. It's one game a week. There can be no excuses for him after this. I don't even think he. If I'm honest, I think if you get to like September, October, and it's looking shaky, and it's one game a week, and the struggles are there, I can see them hitting the button.
well, maybe, but that's where he is right now, and I think that's why he made that comment because they probably had that discussion and said, "We do believe you. We want to give you your players, but if things are not looking good by, let's say you said November, December, 6 months, then they got to make a decision, and that's fair play. That's fair play. Every club has to do that. I'm not here to do a Amorim defense committee. I'm just calling it as I see it. You know what I mean? I call it as I see it. I call it as I see it. I'm not going to keep talking about the manager. And to be honest, and I'll say this: if Ten Hag was still here at this point, I won't even talk about Ten Hag anymore because whatever's happened, there's a pattern that keeps happening at this club that people just allow to happen, whether it be from the fans, whether it be from the board, whatever the situation may be. They keep allowing it to happen. Every year for the last 10 years, you've heard about a virus at the club, or you've heard about a leak at the club, or you heard this guy's not good enough, and this tactical style is not going to work, and they play this and they do that, and then these characters keep leaving the club, and it's the same flipping problems. Pogba was the problem, nothing's changed. Ronaldo was the problem, nothing's changed.
Rashford and Sancho.
Rashford and Sancho and Lingard and their dancing was the problem. Nothing's changed. Mourinho's the problem. He finished second. He went and done nonsense. Nothing's changed. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the problem. Nothing's changed. And we're all part of that because I sat on podcasts and said this guy's not good enough. He has to go. We're all part of that. But there's obviously a theme here. So I'm tired of talking about managers now. So if he's
Oh yeah,
here,
but we know the issue is though. It's the players. The players.
exactly. So
The players.
if he's here, you've hired him to do a job, and you firmly believe that he's the guy. Okay, you've got less money to work with now because you didn't qualify for Europe. The money from Adidas is going to go down because you finished in the bottom 10. You haven't
There's
got a
a,
trophy to add
yeah.
to it. Like, so many factors. So you got to find a way to make things work. So if it means selling players to build up your transfer kitty a little bit, so whatever percentage of revenue the budget gets from the sale, some goes
Yeah.
to the clubs, some goes to the, you'll figure it out, and you got to make things work. This is where we are. There can't be any excuses. I'm sorry, and that is for Amorim as well. Because if you get in 5-6 players, say Cunha comes in, say Delap comes in, and we add 4 more players, and he loves it. We already added Dorgu, so I'm going to make that 7 because I'll be free already,
Yeah, yeah.
and then 4 on top. if you get these guys in and you change the lineup, you see he started to bring Amas into the lineup. Kojo was playing before he got injured. Chido Obi is now making the bench as well, so maybe he'll start getting more minutes. If these guys are all factored in and you're still not finding a way to win, I'll be standing there with the guys saying, "Sorry, boss, but it's time to go." Unfortunately, but until that happens, and we're stuck with the same crop, like Luke Shaw, who's going to sit there and say, "We have to question if we're good enough for this club," and yeah, or Garnacho, who thinks he's slick by speaking in Spanish, thinks we could translate it. Him coming to do I started every game, but in the final I got 20 minutes. So let's see in the final. Well, you know what? That's great. They started every game in the Europa League, but Ugarte, Dallo, Maguire scored the goals to get us through. Kobe Mainu scored the goals to get us through to these finals, and then obviously in the semi final we had kind of an easier run with Bilbao completely have a shit show of their game despite having a good season in La Liga. Right? You haven't been a major factor in those games. I'm going to call a spade a spade. You haven't. So don't come and give me that whole I've done this and done that, because this whole season you've not been good enough. None of you have been good enough. So don't come and give me that bullshit. So if he's going to go, cut. If Shaw's going to go, cut. Bruno, he said if the club want to sell me and it's part of the process, then so be it. So if he goes and he gets an offer that's too good to refuse, he can go as well. I don't know what the rebuild needs to be, but I've got a core of young players that I would build around, and they're Euro, they are Mainu, they are Ahmad, they are Koya, they are Chido, they are Amas. Those six, I'm happy with. I'm not saying start them immediately. I'm saying that is your base to work with, and you go forward from there. Until you get to that,
I think it should be the other way around, though. I think it should be your experience is the base, then you build your.
The experience have not done anything for the last 3 years, but they can fuck off.
No. But I don't mean this experience. I mean
the new experience that comes in.
Bring some experience in, because the experience you've got, like you said, hasn't done anything for time. But I feel like the youth players, like the six that you just mentioned there, could be the future of Manchester United. But I feel during that transition, like you're seeing at Chelsea, look at
guidance,
you're looking at the youthful squad that they have at Chelsea. You can bring in like really good, or like you haven't brought some of them in, they come through your academy. But you can bring players in, or you can bring them through your academy. Yes, they might play well, 2-3 games. But then when they come up against a big team, or they have to play consistently week in, week out, you do start to see their flaws a little bit more. And I think when you've got experienced, quality players in the squad, they're the ones that will see them through the game, see them through that 90 minutes. When they're not doing it, they're the ones that step up and say, actually, I'm here to do this job whilst you're watching me and my understudy. I'm going to show you what you need to do in that situation. You don't have that. And Chelsea doesn't have that. A lot of teams don't have that.
Yeah.
But I think with United, I think it's evidently clear to see that the likes of Fernandes, Casemiro, Luke Shaw, the fact that even Fernandes, the captain's coming out, and saying, if you want me to go, I'll go, sort of thing. That's a captain of the club saying that.
You know why? Because I think he felt really ashamed of his performance. He was bad. And you see how Bruno talks. He's proud, man. You can tell he's proud. So you can tell he knew that. He I think that comment was, man, we had a bad day, and I was part of that problem. So if they say I have to go, what can I do? And you know what? I respect that. But the experience you're talking about, I understand. Look, this is the only luxury that Amorim has, is that once you get to clean that slate, whatever players you bring in, whether they're young or experienced, you can't get any worse than 17th. Because if you get worse than 17th, we're not in this league anymore.
I said to someone last night, I think if the things aren't resolved within the next couple of months, like before the season starts, I'll be honest, I could see another repeat. I'll be honest. I'll be honest.
Well, it's time to get to work then. I'm telling you, they should be getting to work from now. The game against Aston Villa is for Aston Villa for everything to play for. So it wouldn't surprise me if they come and give us a 3-4-0 hiding at United, because they got to work for that that Champions League position. And United, and I've seen this before with this group of players. It's not like back in the day when Man United have a loss and you're talking about that next team being in trouble because they come in to smack you. No, this United are going to be licking their own wounds and just being like, man, where do we go from here? And they're going to put in a shit show of performance on Sunday, and they're going to hear it from the fans in the stadium as well. Forget about social media. The fans
you're right.
Be very vocal. It's going to be a very peak environment, right? But what's going to happen is sometimes that's required for the higher ups to also say, you know what, if we gotta make big losses on players, we have to hold that. So unless they're wanted by a Saudi club where they know they can pay big bucks and the club is ready to pay big bucks for like a Bruno, because Bruno's probably the only one we can market in terms of like if we want him to go, this is a quality player that you've got to take, right? He's the only one. The rest of them don't have a leg to stand on in terms of players that are going to be listed. They don't have a leg to stand on, so you're gonna have to take some losses. 10 million for this guy, 20 million for this guy.
That's what I'm saying. Though, do you reckon the club's going to do that? That's why
they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to. I don't know if they will, but they're gonna have to. I'm sorry, bro. They're gonna have to. Like it's silly to compare, but you see on FM, how many players have I had that are worth 80 million and sold it for 30? Because they have to kick, bro. They have to cut. You saw it that first season that we did. We finished what,
I know
30?
what you're saying. No.
And then I got rid of how many players, put new guys in, and we finished first. It's a simulation, so it's not the same thing. But if it's got to happen, make it fucking happen. It's just what will be. And if we make it happen and it doesn't work, I can sit there and say, at least the board gave you every chance to try and fix things. And it didn't happen for you. So move on. Give me a reason to fully blame the manager and not the players. Because the players have been here a while. Some of them have been there 10 years now. And they have nothing to show for it.
And that's the problem. That's the problem. And as well, some of these players are on big wages as well. It's not even. This is why I'm saying, can they just kick like that? Because I know Rashford ain't gonna just get up and go.
Well,
you know that's not. You know he's not gonna do that.
Rashford's got he's got one hell of a problem on his hands, boy. Because I think he wants to return to the club. And I don't know. He's not part of the tour, though, is he? I'm sure I read that he's not going to be part of the. Well, he can't be part of the tour anyway because his loan finishes on the 30th, and unless Villa, because there's an option to buy, you can't just remove him from the club. There's no, call back and it's done. Unless Villa come and say, we're not doing this, send him back on. So until June 30th, where we know whether he's going or not going, he can't be part of the tour. That's just what it is. So we'll see what happens from there. Thing is, I feel like he wants to come back and prove a point because whether people like it or not, he loves this club. Whether you question his commitment or not, he loves Man United. You can tell. But
do you think do you reckon the door is still open for him though? Do you reckon there is a?
I think the door's open for him from the manager, not from the people. Might think I'm mad by saying that because the manager watched him go, but the man's comments were, we are a much better team when Rashford is better. And we know from a group of Portuguese managers, they don't tend to mince their words if they don't want a player. So if he thinks the guy can do something, he'll try and find a way for him to do something, but he has to adapt to the system. Or whatever system is going to be next or whatever tactical style is going to be next. So he has to find a way to play. But if he's not going to be here, he'll find another club. Rashford will be wanted somewhere. It might be another loan, but it will have to be. So I don't know. But
how long's left on his contract?
Rashford, I think he's got another 2 or 3 years actually. It's got a while. It's got a while. Because remember, he had that 30 plus goal season, and then they gave him a new contract immediately, and then it went to shit after that. So who knows? There's so much work to be done, bro. And you see, this is what I'm talking about. We don't even know who's out because he's on big wages as well. So that's another thing.
Sancho's on big wages.
Thank you.
Mason Mount's Mason Mount's not on big wages, but I think for what his output is, what he's put out this. He's been there 2 seasons now, hasn't he? This is his second season.
This second season now, yeah. And on that as well, look at how bad that deal is. Like, I'm not forget about the player now. Look how bad the deal. Even if he was a fantastic player, you receive like what's the red thing that I read? You receive 5.5 million for reaching the final, but because we reached the final, Chelsea get 3.5 million because of that. Like, that's a bad clause. It should be if we win a trophy, here's a little bit of money on top for your transfer fee. What do you mean we reached the final? So there you go. You got some money. You haven't achieved anything by reaching the final. You need to win. That's a bad transfer. And this is what you're paying for. So this is why another reason why it's going to be hard to get rid of players. But this is what I'm talking about. Maybe you have to accept a lesser fee. So those clubs can say, yeah, we can do a wage if you cut down the fee a little bit. You're going to have to hold that, bro.
I can't see the club doing that.
They have to, bro. They have to. I'm sorry, they have to. I'm sorry to cut you off, but they have to. They have to.
I just can't. Do you know why I can't see it? Because I'm thinking in today's world, like every club is trying to squeeze every little penny out their club, and they're trying to fall into the sustain and profitability and all that stuff and the PSR, all of them things. So they're trying to squeeze every little bit of juice out their club, and I just can't see the owners as they are your owners saying actually we'll let such and such go for 25, but they're worth 50, 60 mil. I can't see that happening. I think they'll try and haggle, store. And this is why I said I think next season could be an exact carbon copy, you know, rinse and repeat of this season if you're not careful. Because I think if you try and hold out for the best price, I think you're right, by the way, but I think if you try and hold out for the best price for certain players, one, they're just going to think, actually, I've got 3 years left on my deal, or I've got 2 years left. I can just kick here and earn my 300 grand. Do you know what I mean? Like, what was his name? Phil Jones. He was just sat on the bench for how long?
You know what? I don't even blame Phil Jones. If anyone, there was a summer. What summer was it? I think it might be 2019. Everyone needs to, if the United fan, you maybe I got the year wrong, but I need to recall this. Phil Jones, Chris Smalling, and Ashley Young were at the end of their contracts. And this club went to go and give them new contract. Brother, so I don't even blame them. I don't blame them because Phil Jones knew he wasn't going anywhere after United. He knew that.
Just hold out.
There you go. And if you listen to his interviews after he retired, he firmly believed that he could try and get back to his best. Because the few times that he played within those years, he actually gave good performances. But unfortunately, he'll be injured the next day. So he believed that if he find his fitness, he can keep going. But unfortunately, it didn't happen. And finally, we got to a stage where it was like, it's enough. But he went straight into retirement.
I don't blame him. He earned it.
You allowed him to. You allowed him to.
Yeah, 100%. What? Before we wrap up, what do you think is next now? Because obviously we spoke about, like, you know, Spurs winning the trophy and United not really turning up last night or not playing it to their ability to win the final. What do you think needs to happen now in terms of top to bottom, from owners to sporting directors to the manager's role to the players? What players do you want to see come through that door at Carrington in the next couple of months?
Nothing is going to change upstairs. I'll be very honest. Maybe Ineos get another higher percentage. Maybe that's the most you'll get. Nothing. The Glazers are not giving up power, so I'm not going to get into that one. In terms of people that are in the ballroom that help with transfers, I think they've got their group set now. So just work with the manager. And I think, to be fair, I think they're all aligned on the type of players that they like at the club as with the manager. So that should be a nice, peaceful, you know, relationship there. Unless results go to the toilet. In terms of manager, I don't want any change, to be quite frank. Back the guy, give him his players. I always say free summer windows to get your full squad, but right now, with how the season's finished, it's going to look like one summer. So you got to give him something this year. And players, I mean, I want Cunha, I want Delap, but because we haven't got Champions League football, we have to kill the dream of a Gyökeres or an Osimhen or whoever else you got in your mind, even like a Sesko if you want to go down that path. You got to look at, you got to be sensible and look at players properly. I would have said Stiller, but he's wanted by Liverpool, so forget that. But if it's position-wise, a new right back or right wing back, a new defensive-minded centre midfielder, another striker. Believe me, another striker. Ideally, another number 10. And by God, a goalkeeper. By God.
I was gonna say, for me, priority has to be goalkeeper. I don't care what and a striker. I think everything else, not saying it can wait, but I think your goalkeeper, if you haven't got someone confident, I've watched it all season and you've watched it all season. If you haven't got someone confident in front of your defenders, behind your defenders, you need to have someone confident who can play out from the back, who's confident from set pieces, and you also need a striker. To me, anything else you can kind of compensate a little bit. You can cover over cracks with your midfield sometimes and your defenders a little bit. But when you have got a goalkeeper that's confident in goal, I mean, even a goal yesterday,
I tried to stay away from it.
Oh my God.
He was so flat-footed. There was no preparation. He wasn't on his toes. He wasn't aggressive. When you see the defender, you've got two defenders and one is beating the defender to the ball, you've got to try and get in there and just make yourself big. The guy's just standing there watching, and then when the ball's, he does this so many times, when the ball is now going past him, that's when he wants to get on his toes and prepare to leave. You're not going to say
Too late.
He's not good. I'm sorry, guys. He's just not good. He doesn't help the claim on social media that you can't trust black goalkeepers. He doesn't help it. He's bad.
Do you know what's funny though as well? There's no like progression. You know, like sometimes you'll see a goalkeeper and you think, like Jurgensen at Chelsea, I can see progression. I remember watching Kelleher a few years ago and thinking, oh, he's rubbish. But years have gone on. I've seen the progression. I know he's good enough to be a number one now. With Onana, he's not even like a young goalkeeper. Like he's entering prime years as a goalkeeper. So
It's not gonna work, man.
For him to be making them kind of mistakes now, listen, go and grab a goalkeeper. I think Zertsky, Hoyland, both if not one or two, have to kick it in the summer.
Hoyland. It's Hoyland. It's not Xerxes. Hoyland. Hoyland has to go. He has to go.
I reckon he'll end up back in Italy somewhere. I think
That's
he'll go
fine.
to.
I don't care
He
where
needs
it
to
is.
go.
Just get go piece of football. Okay, go.
I'll be honest. I think Casemiro gotta go.
I think he stays one more year.
Nah, man, don't.
No,
Do you know
not
the reason I'd keep him? Do you know the reason I'd keep him is because he's got the experience at that top level, and I wouldn't want to see him start every game. But in and amongst the dressing room, training ground, yes, he's going to be able to be valuable. But seeing him last night, he was like he was running in mud. Do you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, man. His legs are gone. So I don't know, man. But it's a sad. I'll be honest. Like I'm not even trying to take the piss here now either. But it is sad to see United in this way. Because we've all grown up and we've all watched United win things and the glory years and the treble winning season, and just to see United in this situation where like it's mad. Like, I can't even put it. That's why when I started this, I was like, how do I even start this? To me, because to me it is absolutely madness that a team like United are where they are. And what it shows me is no team is untouchable from the fall from grace. Do you get what I'm saying? Like every team will go through this rotation of like Liverpool have had it, Chelsea have had it, Arsenal are on the brink of trying to win the Premier League, but they've been in dire positions before, just as much as anyone. Man City were relegated and they were in like League One, I think, at one point, weren't they? So they've been down there. So every team is going to have their rotation of greatness and their rotation of you just got to ride it out and hope that your team gets back up there. But it is crazy to see, I'll be honest. It's absolutely crazy to see a team like United where they are, man.
Well, I'm not. I'll keep saying I didn't ever predict that we ever get to this low. But if you thought the last season was going to be after last season that we were going to have a major improvement after the window we had, I could tell in the summer that it wasn't going to be I'll always come out and back my team. Ask me after our transfers in the summer, and then we come to this podcast in August, a week before the league starts, and I'll tell you, you know what? Yeah, I think we can get to Europa League this year. I'll do that. That's my club, my passion. But if you sit down and you really truly analyze what's going on from all angles, it was coming. We lost 14 league games last year, man. It was coming.
Everton's above you in the league, I think.
Bro. Basically, unless you're relegated or Tottenham, everyone's above us, bro. And if Tottenham win this weekend, because I don't see us beating Villa.
And that's the thing. I need you to beat Villa. I need you to beat them.
Well, you do. I just need us to get to the magic 40. If we can't get to 40 points, we're on 39. Laura messaged. No, she did a story. And then, actually, no. We have so many conversations, I can't go that far back. But she put on a story, will Man United get to 40 points this year? And I voted yes. Then I immediately responded to her story and said, I voted for yes, but I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. 10 wins, 18 losses this season, 54 goals conceded, 42 goals scored. That's crazy. That's relegation form. That is relegation form.
And last year, I think, if I remember correctly, we finished with a -1 or +2 goal difference. Like it's been coming, man. It's been coming. And the first mistake they made was keeping Ten Hag after the final, and that's not me saying it should have been Amorim at that time.
No. But we done the thing on that. We said that he should have gone in the summer.
Yeah, and there you go. And every decision since has been poor. I don't think the decision to bring in Amorim was poor, but I think the decision to force him or make it look like he has no alternative but to come now was poor.
And he did, man. He did. He had the alternative, man. I'm telling you, for a club like United, imagine Ten Hag was still here now, and they offered it to Amorim, and he said, "Actually, I want to come in the summer." Do you know what they could have also done? They could have agreed the deal with him to come in the summer, and said, "We."
Do you know why I think? The reason why I think he didn't have that alternative is because Man United still tried to think that Man United are the Man United of old.
Yeah, but he knew that.
So
They must have sold him a dream then, because he must have known coming into it, looking at the situation, looking where they were, looking how they were under Ten Hag, and he must have thought, "I am not a miracle worker. I'm not going to come in here with a wand and change everything in the space of 6 months. That's impossible, because this isn't
well,
just
so
this isn't a Ten Hag issue. This is a historical 4-year, 5-year issue at United."
yeah, well, alluding to what we were talking about earlier, he's probably had that conversation where he knows that no matter what happens, he'll be safe, unless obviously you were relegated, right? So that's why I think.
You think it was like a free hit for him?
Yeah, that's why I think he just went. You know what? Because all those the comments I made about what Sir Jim said was even before we won the FA Cup. So we're going further back. You know what I'm saying? So like this is what I'm talking about. And obviously you kept this guy in the summer and you gave him players that haven't I didn't even think they haven't been good enough. So you know you are to blame for that as well. They are to blame because they took over Sporting Affairs and they fumbled the bag, even with Ashworth as well. So you know.
True.
There's so many factors, but this is why I'm saying I think if he had said no, they would have been the whole, well, we're Man United, so F off then, and we're gonna try and get someone else in. That's how Man United acts. It's not to do with him, believe me. I'm not saying it's him. The club do that. They've always done that. They do it to players as well. When they're gonna sign players, well, if we don't come now, we're not gonna sign you again. They do that.
And
They absolutely do that. And it's a dickhead thing.
Do you know what the thing is? Even if he said no, and United turned around and said, "Actually, we don't want you," then that would not have been the end of the world for him, because it's a young manager, and
Exactly.
if he stayed at Sporting, he would have got a big opportunity somewhere else, 110%. So for
Absolutely.
him to jump at the first opportunity, it's like, when you're like, how can I put this? When like a nice woman used to come up to you. Obviously, times have changed now. I'm a married man, but back in the day, they used to come up to you. And the first nice one used to come up to you, used to jump at the chance, but she might not even be the right one. There could be 10 other nice women down around the corner. So what I'm saying is, like, you don't just jump at the first opportunity when you're given that. If you believe in yourself, if you believe in yourself that much, you're a good manager. Trust me, United at some point, whether it's 2 years, 6 months, or 3 years down the line, I guarantee you they'd come back for him, because they'd say, "Actually, you know what? We really do want you, and this is what we're going to offer you now." And he could have even extended his CV beyond then and won more things at Sporting or elsewhere.
Well, maybe. But
That's how
this is
I
where
look
we
at it. But we are where we are now.
Yeah, we are where we are now. And to be honest, I still believe he's going to turn it around. So I'm giving let's start the summer now, because at this point, Villa for us is a no brainer. I'm not watching that. I'm watching you guys versus Forest, because that's the game at stake. To be quite frank, and I think you deserve my time. And then we'll go from the summer from there, man. Listen, it's going to be a lot of nonsense talk. I need to actually just use my brain and just step away from conversation.
Disengage, man. Disengage.
Yeah, and just watch what United do from a distance. Assess it myself. Come on this platform to talk, because this is where people come with just calm conversation. And then we go from there. And then we'll see what happens in August going forward. But right now, send these guys on holiday. And then if these guys don't want to be here, don't have the desire to be here, don't show form, whatever the case may be, if they're not good enough in any shape or form, get out the door, bring new guys in, start playing young players.
You're lucky I haven't got that clip of what's his face when he was at Villarreal, the Liverpool player. What's his name? Moreno. Is it Moreno? And he's like, "Get out, get out."
Oh, you're ass speaking. What is it on? What's the show called? My Wife and Kids. When
Yeah.
when he says goodbye, good riddance, arrivederci.
Arrivederci and little Franklin.
Yeah, Franklin says it. No, I think what's his name?
Michael.
Michael says it. Mike says it first. After Junior's got caught sleeping with that girl in his bed.
Yeah, that's it. Arrivederci.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. No, I was on about.
Don't know who with the good old split you, kick Ross, get the fuck out, or get the hell out.
One.
It was.
That's the one.
Yeah. So I was thinking that.
Crazy.
Yeah, honestly, get these guys out, man. It's been too much, man. It's been too much. So it's had to change.
Well, appreciate you coming on as always. It's always a pleasure. And to be fair, I'm surprised you even jumped on, because I know you're still heated from last night, and I can hear it that the passion is there.
Oh, I'm heated, but I have time to talk to non-Man United fans.
Yeah, of course. Come on.
Yeah,
Always.
non-Man
But
United, and I used to know, not Everton fans. I don't. They think we're ops. You're not ops because you got a new stadium, guys. Come on, come
Everton.
on. Yeah, man, they've got a lot of noise. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, there you go.
Leave him to it, man. Leave him to it. But
Yeah.
as I say always on here, make sure you subscribe if you're not part of the if you're not part of the subscription already. Make sure you subscribe, like the video. And yeah, we'll be back soon, man. Appreciate everyone that's been tuned in.